started.
What would how do I what would compel you to go to space?
Ooh, good question. So I remember Tom Hanks talking about this a couple of years ago, where he obviously Tom Hanks in space, long history, Apollo 13. Also, he made From the Earth to the Moon. Child of the '60s, loves space. Right, I'd say
Mhm.
probably the most famous celebrity space guy. He's a
Oh,
space
okay.
guy through and through. Right.
Okay, yeah.
Tom Hanks said, I would love to go to space, right? But I would love to go to space with a purpose. Like,
Hmm.
if there is a reason for, I don't know how old Tom Hanks is now, probably like 70. So he was like, if there's a purpose for a 70-year-old white man to go into space and help in like for scientific purposes or help advance this in any way, I would love
Yeah.
to go. Right? He's like, obviously, I'd love to go. It's always been a dream of mine and stuff like that. So that is what I'm looking for. I would like to go with a purpose because where we are in terms of space travel right now, it's not like, it's not reasonably something that any decent human being should do, right? If you're just fucking going up there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So the Blue Origin space tourism
Yeah.
launch, the ladies be flying, am I right? Ladies be floating. We had a star-studded team, including
Yeah.
Katy Perry, Gil King,
Yes.
um, Jeff Bezos' girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Lauren Sanchez, any other claim to fame besides being Jeff Bezos' girlfriend?
So I believe she was an entertainment reporter. I believe she has acted in movies also
Okay.
as an entertainment reporter.
Hmm.
I know that she was married,
She
very famous.
she plays and is an entertainment
An
reporter. Okay,
entertainment reporter, or I
okay.
believe she played like a news reporter in a movie and stuff like that. I know that
Mhm.
she is Hollywood to some degree because her ex-husband is like a super agent. So there's that.
Okay. Yeah, so we
But
had yeah.
more so than anything else, fucking Lauren Sanchez, great job. Well done. Way to make it work for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so we had Katy Perry,
Hmm.
Lauren Sanchez, Carrie Flynn, Aisha Bo or Bowie, Amanda Wynn, and Gail King up there in space for 2 minutes.
11 minutes, I thought. I thought they were
No,
off the
no,
ground
no.
for.
The full flight, the full launch to landing was 11
Hmm.
minutes. They
Okay.
were above. So apparently they okay, by the way, first of all, the booster and the little pod on top, it's a dick, right? That's a dong.
I believe that's a dong. I think that that's how it was designed. It was probably designed with that in mind.
It
We're sending dongs up to space. Yeah, we want.
what 1000%. And by the way, real, do you know that they did this maiden voyage? Emphasis on maidens, I guess. But they did this on the anniversary of the Titanic sinking. That's
I mean,
dark.
that's dark, but like if you go through the calendar, I'm sure you're gonna find a horrible natural
No, no,
disaster
no, no, no,
on
no.
every single day.
The Titanic. Are you kidding me? Of
So
all of them?
we're not supposed to do anything on the 12th. Is it the 12th? When is it? When the
Yeah. It
14th?
was
Yeah, the 12th.
14th. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. 2 days
Yeah,
ago
so we're
was.
just gonna take that day off the calendar. Like I know, like obviously in this country it's like 9/11, right? 9/11,
Yeah,
of course. You're not scheduling your wedding on 9/11. If you are, you're a monster,
yeah.
right? But are we just supposed to take the 12th of April off our calendars for anything?
I
What can I?
mean,
Can I host a pool party on the 12th? Is
I
that
think
just
I think a pool party is fine. Actually, no. I think a pool party is a
no?
little
That's
tone deaf.
worse. That's
No, it's
way
by the way
worse.
not the 12th. It's the 14th of April.
Okay, all right.
No, I don't think you do any water sports. I don't think that you do any journeys.
Don't
I
launch
just
anything.
don't launch anything. Okay?
Like, regardless of what it is, actually physically launching something or like launching a brand, launching something new.
It's
Not
not a
on
good
the.
day for a lunch.
Nope.
No. I would never want to do that. I like to believe in science, but I am a little superstitious.
Yeah, of course.
It's the way we are. It's the South Asians. It's like the Desi in us. Like I don't know how to I can't shake off a bad juju. And that to me feels like bad juju. But anyway, the dick shaped rocket boosted
Hmm.
these ladies in full glam into the sky. And then it like the mushroom on top,
Yeah.
the head, it pops off and then it shoots up and it goes like I forgot what it's called. I'm sure I'm gonna fuck it up, but guess what? No science here
Yeah, not a
between the
science
two of
girly.
us.
Yeah,
No.
of course.
But it just like goes above just like a level above the space, a level above Earth where you just get to float for a little while.
So, I mean, I don't want to keep continuing on this dong analogy that you have, but it's basically like a head peeking out of a zipper.
Just a tip.
Just a tip, just peeking out of the zipper, just saying, hey, hello.
Oh, Earth. Nice to see you here.
Nice to formally meet.
Yeah. And then they were up there for 2 minutes and then they came back down.
For those 2 minutes, the Earth was 5% quieter. Hey-oh. Because of
Hey,
the women, you see.
I don't like that. I don't like that. No. See what you did, Katy Perry? No, I disagree. How dare you? That's fucked up.
It is fucked up. I'm sorry.
I'm mad. I
Good.
crossed my arms angrily. Humph. I don't like that. Anyway, now the memes were great because did you see the footage of Gail before she went up?
I have seen no footage of anything.
Oh,
All I have
Raheel.
seen, I've seen some like Reddit pictures, right?
Uh-huh.
I've seen a picture of Katy Perry with a fucking wallflower emoji or something like that. Full on glam, like so much makeup. And I'm sorry, I know I'm not supposed to talk about this, right?
No, we can.
But I'm saying I've seen other lady astronauts from
Actual
NASA,
astronauts. Yeah.
actual astronauts. Makeup isn't a part of their consideration when they're going up to
Mm-mm.
space. That's all I'm going to say. I will leave it at that.
No, of course. Now let's talk about the fact that yes, they were in full glam
Mm-hmm.
and they were up there for 2 minutes. And in like the viewing area down below was like the fucking Kardashians watching, like other
Yeah.
billionaires. Like there's nothing about it that was like, yeah, this is giving feminism. Yes, science, STEM, bitch. Like none of it. Because when they asked all the interviews leading up to it, Katy Perry was like, I'm doing this. She said, and I might be misquoting, but it was something along the lines of, I want to get in touch with STEM.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I've been listening to Cosmos by Carl Sagan.
Oh, good.
Oh, great. That prepares you. And they kept saying, that this is going to be this like great innovative thing, that this is the first all female crew. Would we call it a crew? They're like, now we're astronauts. No, you're not. This is so offensive to actual astronauts.
It is. I would say the closest comparison I would make it to is if you and three of your friends get on a roller coaster, and there's a man that operates the on-off button, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys go through the roller coaster by yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then you land, and then you stop. You say, "Well, that was an all-female roller coaster that we did something together, right?" But
Sure.
that's essentially all this is it's just a little trip. It's just a little trip um I guess for symbolic purposes, right?
Yeah, the cost, I think that it's not put out there publicly, but
Hmm.
apparently a seat on a Blue Origin flight, this 11-minute ride,
Yeah.
it starts at $30 million.
Oh, good. Well, use of resources.
Yeah. And they're like, no, it was all sustainable fuel. Let's not
Oh,
talk about the fact that all of the testing that happened before we actually launched caused a ton of other issues. There was still like methane gas that was releasing into the atmosphere that like is the biggest culprit for killing. Like I only took science in like middle school, basically, right? So like
yeah.
that I even know from like sixth grade. That's not good for the environment.
Mhm.
Um, Katy Perry came down and said some shit like, I'm just so connected with love. You have no idea how much love you have in you until you launch and then until you land.
Oh, good. So that's exactly what easily influenced people need to hear is to feel true love. You need to launch yourself in a $30 million rocket ship for 2 minutes into the sky, right?
Can you
So
fucking believe that? Like, that's crazy. Now, what I will say is, I don't want to downplay one of the people that
I,
did.
I think I think I hope we're going to be talking about the same people because as ridiculous as all of this is, right? I
Yeah.
think that's the part that there is good in it, right? Like
Yeah.
when I say ridiculous, like we're talking about like the cost of shooting these people into the sky for 2 minutes and bringing them back down. There's also a whole other level of ridiculousness of like the cost of flying the fucking Kardashians there and
Yeah.
providing them security and all that shit, right? Like the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
performative aspect of this. But go on.
Yeah. So Amanda Wynn is
Yep.
a activist. She's a civil rights activist and a Nobel Peace Prize nominee, and she's the first Vietnamese woman to fly into space, which is very exciting. She's
Mm-hmm.
like 36, I think. Like she's very young.
Yeah.
And her story is that she went to Harvard and she was actually studying to be an astrophysicist, and she wanted to be an astronaut. That was her dream. And she,
Mm-hmm.
trigger warning, went through a horrific sexual assault, and she had to change her entire plan up. Everything
Yep.
changed, and she actually then found out that when she wanted to press charges, that the government had the right to, after 6 months, basically discard her rape kit. And so she couldn't press charges. And so she started doing all this activism, and she passed a law that I'm probably going to screw this up, but the law is called it's a sexual assault survivors rights act, and it protects survivors and keeps, I think, the statute of limitation and the maintaining of the rape kits and all that kind of stuff. Like, it gives survivors more rights. And she spent the rest of her entire career focused on getting this passed, first in Congress, then the UN. Like, she's an actual activist. And so for her, this was really exciting. She got to
Yep.
do the thing that she went to college for, and her dreams were destroyed. The other woman that was on it, I just had her pulled up right now.
I
One
should
second.
bow.
Yeah. I want to look her up. She's a former NASA aerospace engineer. Okay.
She's
This
another
is what
badass. Yep.
she's another badass. Okay. Those two ladies, you know what? That's actually really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Katy Perry, Carrie Flynn, Gail King, and Lauren Sanchez. Come on.
Please. So this is where like the I don't know if this is like a gray area or how we talk about it, right? But like the fact that Katy Perry and Gail King and the other two ladies, who are they? There's I know one of them is a producer.
Yeah, Carrie Flynn and
Karen
Lauren
Flynn
Sanchez. Yeah.
and Lauren Sanchez. You know, obviously that's just Mrs. Bezos, right? So she
Yeah,
gets a
yeah,
free
yeah.
trip, right? The fact that they are going up, right, and the fact that this entire story, the way that it was positioned in the media and stuff like that, they were the headliners. They're
Yeah.
the headliners going to space, and so when other news services pick it up and stuff like that, that's who they talk about. And so the reaction to it, like all the memes and the fact that people are pointing out how fucking ridiculous all this stuff is accurate. That
Yeah.
is exactly the type of reaction we should all have to it, because having multimillionaires, and in one case the wife of the richest man in the world, you
Yeah.
know, go up in space on a luxury trip, and seeing that as some sort of advancement for women, that's a ridiculous notion, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, it is through this that it's the first time that I've heard about Aisha Bo and Amanda Wen.
Yeah.
And Aisha Bo, I really haven't had a chance to like look into that much, but I hear about it. I'm like, this is a person of color, a
Yeah.
woman that has been advocating for STEM her entire career.
Yeah.
That is automatically a badass. But
Yeah.
like, I've looked more into Amanda Wen, and she's a fucking superhero, right? And
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
been a superhero for like the last 10 years. And it's a shame that you and I didn't know about her until this thing happened. Like, this thing needed to happen for us to learn about her. So you say, well, there is something positive out of it. I think the memes and all that stuff is hilarious and fun, and it should definitely happen. But I also hope that people take that energy and like look into Aisha Bo and Amanda Wen, because they deserve it.
Yeah. I also want to say that this whole thing that, like, this is going to be this great big thing for feminism, whatever, but it's like, oh yeah, they're like spacesuits were like bell bottom, trendy chic, designed by like Oscar de la Renta, and like they had, hundreds of thousands of dollars of glam teams over there. Like, Katy Perry, you could see her like lashes were lifting off her face when she like comes back down, right? Like their hair is perfectly down, like perfect curls, like that whole thing is so crazy. It's such an insanely like accurate form of like Western feminism, because the
Hmm.
same people that are saying this are actually, number one, in cahoots with fucking Jeff Bezos, because this is a Bezos pet
Yeah,
project.
it is a PR stunt.
And also that same, you know, evil or oligarchy that we're like talking about every single week are the reason why women are getting fired from NASA. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
why you're not allowed to say the word female in, and you're not allowed to talk about gender in science papers anymore. Like that's the way grants are being done right now. And so this idea that this is like this great big leap for like women, no, it's a great big leap for space tourism. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
apparently the first time that the first ever like commercial flights were um introduced to the world, it was done similarly. I mean, even the Titanic, right, was this like fancy elite boat, right?
Yeah.
And it's so like this idea of travel through space or travel to another thing is like, oh, we're going to pitch this to rich people, because actually rich people don't really want to help what's going, they don't want to make Earth more
Nope.
hospitable.
Oh, no, no, no.
What they want to do is figure out a way to quickly escape from Earth, because they know that they're fucking shit up. They're like, we're so bored. We saw the whole Earth.
We've done the entire thing. Yes. Like Jeff Bezos for like the last 5 years, he's just been, seemingly just like on a sex tour. I don't know if you've seen him at like his parties in Miami Beach and stuff like that.
No, I
And it's just
don't want
like,
to think about that.
so that's the thing, right? It's interesting as a man to see that stuff because you have this
Because you
concept.
aim for that. That's what you
And so
want.
that's the thing, right? Like it is like it honestly is
No, that's all men want.
it's so weird, right? Because like I think about Jeff Bezos the first time that I saw
Having
him,
sex.
which was on Oprah actually
Yeah,
in
yeah,
like
yeah.
1997 when I
Yeah.
guess Amazon went public and
Yeah.
he was talking about the importance of books and reading and all that stuff, right? And he was obviously one of the smartest people I'd ever seen on that
Yeah.
show, and he was very successful. And you say to yourself, man, this in some ways is aspirational. This is a man that seems content. He is happily married, and then you see him you see him like live his life, and he has like these charitable things with his wife Mackenzie. They seem like a happy couple, and then at a certain point it's not enough for him. He needs to fucking get jacked, shave his head completely, turn into Lex Luthor, and get with Lauren Sanchez. And honestly, good for him. Like that's a thing that he wanted. I'm happy for him. I'm happy like a lifetime dork such as myself is getting to live that dream. Good for him. But then you also say, well, what is contentment? You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
all
Yeah, and he got invited to the inauguration of the
exactly.
last president of the United States
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
The
So
last democratically elected president of the United States. And then his girlfriend's cans were looked at by Mark Zuckerberg, another dweeb.
yeah. So, and who, by the way, now is getting jacked too, who's doing
Yeah, of
jujitsu.
course. Yeah,
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 of
yeah.
course.
Of
And
course.
that's the thing, right?
That's the thing. At the end of the day, these fucking dorks, right? They're like, no, yeah, no, I'm just a dork. Like, I could just get by, like, being a smart guy. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
at some point, you're like, being smart and very wealthy is not enough. Now I also need to get jacked.
Here's the thing, man. I'm 42 now. One
Mhm.
thing I realize is I will never not stop being 12. You know what I mean? There's the 12-year-old
I
is
mean,
always in there.
yeah, I mean,
The
hello,
12
also
the 12
me.
the 12-year-old sees Lauren Sanchez's boobs and says, "Hey, what's up?" You know what I mean? That's what Mark Zuckerberg was looking at.
Yeah, you said auga.
I do want to point that point that you made was actually really good about like, uh, look at me. See, this is how feminism advances. Me acknowledging something good that you did, broad. Hey, Tuts, you made a good point. No, that point about like, hey, yeah, understand that this is feminism being used to advance a corporate entity. And that
Mhm.
corporate entity, even though that corporate entity could itself be woke as fuck, right? Amazon is supposedly woke as fuck. Like they are, I mean, not really because they
Not
treat
really.
their workers like shit. But,
Yeah.
like I'm sure they had before the Trump administration came in. I'm sure they had all the DEI trainings. I'm
Yeah,
sure they
yeah,
had
yeah.
all like the corporate feminism stuff, right? Which is good, I guess, but that's what a good corporation should do. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it is the fact that they're a corporation, and they want to ultimately control as many people as possible is the
Yeah.
problem. And so, yeah, this is good. Yeah, this is bad. I don't know what it says for the progress of feminism.
It doesn't.
But I think it does. I think if there is something good to take away from it, the progress from for feminism should be, hey, we know about Aisha Bo and we know about Amanda Wen, because
Yeah,
that's actually good. That's
great.
who we should be looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Katy Perry did go up there, and you saw that picture of her holding like a butterfly or something in her hand.
It's a
Okay, this
wallflower. Yeah.
no, 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 no. So one, she had her little Daisy, and the Daisy she had because that's her
A
daughter's name
daisy.
is
Oh,
Daisy.
okay, that's cute.
Okay, that is sweet. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. But then this bitch pulls out like Aisha Bo had like I think the Jamaican flag in her
Yeah.
hand, right?
That's
That's
awesome.
cool. Katy Perry pulls out a butterfly, and allegedly on the butterfly, Raheel, you're gonna love this. The butterfly had the set list for her
No.
tour
Come on.
that's coming up.
Oh, come on, Katie.
And what's hilarious is like she's holding it up against the camera. Bitch, look outside. You're in space. What are
The
you
entire
doing?
earth is out there.
The earth is out there. Why are you looking into the camera? And then she puts it up and real, nobody can read it. You can't see what it says because that's not what those cameras are for. Those cameras are there for your safety. Like they're not there for you to be like, this is my set list for my next tour. Like Katie, and then she comes down and she's like, I'm just so connected to Mother Earth. And I just feel so much love. And I'm so ready to give back love to people. And it's like, have you considered going to a therapist? And also, Katy Perry famously voted for Rick Caruso, who's like he's like a billionaire real
Yeah.
estate monster from LA who ran for, I think, mayor of Los Angeles a couple of years ago. And he is like he's like one of the reasons why there's such a housing crisis in LA is because he's like a massive mall creator and
Hmm.
gentrifier. And like he, by the way, created initiatives to bypass environmental protection so that he could build more malls. So Katy Perry, full of shit. Okay. Now, what I will say about Gail. Wait, yeah, go ahead. Talk about Katy.
No, it's just I mean, I don't. Yeah, I probably shouldn't even say it, but she was also married to Russell Brand at some
Hey,
point.
I know.
I know, I
Listen, I
know.
thought
This,
about
I
it too.
listen, I know,
Listen,
I
I
know.
thought about it too.
I'm the
It
piece of shit.
happens to
I'm the
be
piece
no,
of
no,
shit
no.
that brought it up. I'm sorry. You're
No,
right. You're
no,
right.
no.
You're right. I'm sorry.
We
I'm sorry.
can't.
Hey,
We
Katie. Hey,
can't.
Katie. I'm sorry.
You can't. Okay, she is married to Orlando Bloom,
Yeah,
Legolas himself.
it was very lovely. Has very big penis. I've seen uncensored pictures. Um,
What?
yeah, they're on
What?
a raft together.
Okay. Also, by the way, if your husband's Orlando Bloom and he's got a big old dick, why do you have to go
Why
up to
do you
space? Why do you have to go up
fucking
to space to feel love? Go.
fucking going up to space with apparently a Lisa Frank sticker book? Just I don't think that that's advancing the cause of feminism ultimately at the end of the day.
uh, Gayle King, she looked stressed. She looked stressed going. She looked stressed coming back. She
Yeah.
looked like she was having it. All right. And then they were like, Gail, you seem really upset. And then now Gail said, listen, I get it. I was worried because I'm not a flyer. I'm a nervous flyer. I don't like to
Mhm.
fly. And this is a big deal for me, whatever. And then she was like, and I've seen all the memes and the jokes and the shade. And you know what? To that, I say, have you been to space?
Gail doubling back.
And then she said, maybe, you know what I would say? I would tell those people, why don't you go and check out the Blue Origin and the work that you're doing and
Mhm.
see if you can go on there. And I said, Gail, no. Gail,
Um,
no.
this is the first I'm hearing of Gail's experiences. But when you said that, she looked nervous going up and nervous coming down and upset, it's also, I think, a part of it as minorities. There's a little bit of, hey, we're trusting the white man up for a lot
I
of shit
know.
here.
I
There is a
know.
lot of trust being put into a white man for something that I'm supposed to do. And yes, it could all be fine, but also historically, there's usually something pernicious at the end of it. And guess what there is? It's a fucking PR strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, good luck to you, ladies. I
Good
guess.
luck. Sincerely, good luck to Amanda Wen and Aisha Bo for everything that they do.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, exactly. And also, if you're interested in space, guys, donate to programs that, especially for young girls in science and STEM, and then also talk to your elected officials about what the fuck they're doing at NASA.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have you seen the White Lotus drama?
I've seen some. And you know what? It doesn't make me feel good.
Okay, what
I
have you heard about it?
So I've seen some stuff about Jason Isaac,
Uh-huh.
right? Talking about, he was talking about, well, it was a really long. The first thing I read was about how it was a really long shoot, right?
Yeah.
The next thing that I heard was about like how there were some feelings on set, and
Yes.
some people, and it sounds like there's some fucking going on, and maybe that led to some resentment and stuff like that. And then I think about what I think about the White Lotus, which is primarily somebody tells me I have 8 months on a fucking resort. Guess what? I work for a living. Of course, I'm going to sign up for that.
Yeah.
But to hear him talk about how bad of an experience it was, I was like, oh man, maybe, it's not all
And
greener on
then
the other
later
side.
on, Jason Isaacs was like, "Why is everybody so obsessed with what I have to say? Just like leave me alone."
Oh,
But
really?
it's because he like spilled too much tea. Like
Oh,
basically, he was talking about like off camera romances that happened. Well, he
uh-huh.
was like, people fell in love, people fell out of love. There were friendships made. There were people that'll never speak to each other again. I'm like, Jason, what are you talking about? And now everybody thinks that who he was talking about was Walton Goggins and Amy Lou Wood.
That would have been my guess.
And I was like, we cannot Rick and Chelsea in real life. Okay. We can't do this because one of or both will end up dead. But
That
then Walton Goggins wrote this huge, beautiful thing at the finale about
I
Amy
saw
Lee
that.
Wood and everything.
Yeah.
But then he changed it and he edited it and he removed a bunch of stuff. And it was, people are like, is it because his wife was like, hey, what the, did you fuck her? And so then he had to like downplay it. And then they don't follow each other. And then they blocked each other on Instagram.
No, I didn't know all this was happening.
And that they've never been in interviews together. Like she's always in interviews with like Patrick and like Sam Nivola and like all the kids. And then like Walton's always doing his own stuff. Like they're never seen together. And so now
So, now, because so all I've
I like that
seen,
we're also whispering it.
I know I'm scared. Well, it's the White Lotus. If you're not careful, you're gonna fucking end up dead.
Yeah.
So all I had seen about Walton Goggins and Amy Lou Harris
Wood.
Wood. Who's Amy Lou Harris?
I don't know, but it feels like a person.
Who's Wood Harris? Wood Harris is Avon Barksdale from The Wire. Completely different person.
Okay. All right.
Um, so all I had seen was I had seen his message to her on the original message about how special a time that they had, and
Yeah.
how much, like, how immediately he knew, or they knew, that she would be a very important person to him. I did not know about all of this follow up stuff where he's been deleting stuff. So now that original message seems creepy, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking
Yeah.
creepy. And I love, obviously, you and I, horny for Walton.
Yeah. Yeah. Those big old chompers and that receding
Receding.
hairline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then also, poor Amy Lou Wood cannot catch a break because then
Seriously.
SNL did a white POTUS thing, and I was like, oh, this is funny, until we had Sarah Sherman
Feynman? Sherman.
do Amy Lou Woods, and she really mocked her and her
Hmm.
beautiful face and her teeth.
Yeah.
And Amy Lou Woods went on her social media and was like, I know SNL was funny, but like I didn't know that they made fun of people's appearances like that. And I was like,
What did you think? So I watched that parody. It's actually funny. I'm talking to you. Well, I, I don't know if it's funny, but I watched that thing on Sunday morning. That
uh-huh,
that
me too.
parody on
Yeah.
YouTube, right? And I was going to share it in the group that we have with our two cousins.
Uh-huh.
Um, and because that's where we were talking about White Lotus, and that's where we talk about
Yeah, yeah.
politics and stuff like that. So I was gonna share, but I watched it all the way through, and I was like, I guess the concept is funny. I like seeing, like the Trump stuff. I get why it's
Yeah.
funny or whatever, but it wasn't all the way funny, and it wasn't. And I think it was because you get like a weird feeling about that one section, right? Because you're like, okay, I have, and this is just kind of where we are in culture today. Is I think Saturday Night Live also knows all the narratives about like Amy Lou Wood, and like how she felt about her appearance before they did that parody, right?
Yeah.
And in the moment, it still felt mean, and you're
Yes.
like, yeah, this is just mean. So
And
yeah.
and she's actually talked in interviews about how like Mike White talked to like he really fought to have her play Chelsea. He
Hmm.
really really wanted that. And he wanted and so she said, when she found out that Mike had to fight for her, she assumed it was because of her teeth and the way she looked,
Yeah.
because that's like it is an insecurity that comes up. She said, even though like I'm so secure in it, it's
Yeah.
still something that comes up in the back of my mind. I have like imposter syndrome. And then SNL goes and because the other thing was, all the other characters were like related to a political person. Like it was like, oh, like, Trump is plays Tim Ratliff, and then you have like his sons, and then you have like even the group of like the women is Marco it's Marco Rubio, um Alina Haba, and Pam Bondi, right?
Yeah.
But then like the character of Rick is supposed to be RFK Jr., but then when they got to this like really kind of obnoxious version of Amy Lou Wood or Chelsea's character, it wasn't like she wasn't playing. It was like, oh, now you're just making fun of Amy Lou Wood.
Exactly. Yep.
And that wasn't great. And so she didn't like it. And then but Sarah Sherman apparently sent her flowers saying, I'm really sorry.
That's nice. And I don't blame Sarah Sherman for it. She's not ultimately the decider of
Yeah.
what goes on Saturday Night Live, right? She's just doing a skit and she's just doing her job or whatever. I
Yeah.
think it's just really, again, we live in gray times. A
Yeah.
lot of this stuff is, Saturday Night Live. I think somebody from there could turn around and say, well, no, actually we weren't making fun, but this is our way of acceptance, and like we think humor, blah blah blah. They can go down that path, right?
Sure. Yeah.
They can make that. Anyone can make any argument that they want to, but if the person themselves is saying, hey, I saw this thing and this is how it made me feel, that's the fucking end of the conversation. You did a
Yeah.
shitty thing, just get over it. It's fine. Move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. And you know what, guys? Cut her a break. She's so cute and she's so talented. I watched her in Sex Education and she was so funny. She stole that show for me. And like, she's so good in White Lotus and she does other work. And like, leave her alone.
And
Okay.
that's and it's like a weird thing about like talking about her appearance, because now this is what this conversation is about, right? It's like
Yeah.
we're talking about her appearance, we're talking about one like specific thing about her appearance. I'll say this, man, I got a nose, I got a schnozzy poo, right?
Yeah.
We got schnozzes. And
We got
so,
big noses.
when it's something like that, right? You go, well, I have sometimes my friends have like made comments and jokes and stuff like that, and I make fun
Yeah.
of their receding hairlines, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's not exactly receding, if you know what I mean. There's a little cap going on there. But you say, okay, like we're all, obviously everybody should have a sense of humor about themselves,
Yeah.
right? Ultimately though, like especially in that profession, especially when you are judged so harshly for your appearance, I can see how like that aspect of her can in a way, in a way it should just be, hey, this is just a special person who's just talented, and
Yeah.
whatever the fuck, like this is just her appearance. But in another way, in like for people to try to like make it seem like they're accepting of her,
Yeah.
they can focus on it and they can fucking fetishize it and then make it a much bigger deal than it actually has to be. She's just a really talented actor just trying to make a
Yeah.
living at the end of the day. So
Yeah, man. Imagine somebody going to your job and being like, "Well, how good could he be at his job? Look at his nose."
that's probably a comment that my boss probably got. We couldn't pay attention during the meeting because the schnozzy poo was in the way. We have no idea what IT solutions you guys are hawking.
Nazi poo.
I think that's a
Uh,
professional term for it.
yeah,
The
it's in your
medical.
LinkedIn. Schnozzy poo from 1983 to present.
Hey, now I'm being mocked. We went over the limit. There was a time when I said, you know what? Let me try to humanize this story by bringing myself into it. You took that little bit of thread and you hopped all over it.
You know what I would never do is get a caricature made of myself. Oh,
Cool.
it would be all teeth, all nose, big cheeks. It would
Yeah.
be. I wouldn't. I don't want it.
I don't
No,
know.
thank you.
Men suck flag in the back. Because you'd be talking about it throughout the drawing.
The drawing would actually just be the character artist, like just they would draw their own face and it would just be
Yeah.
them rolling their eyes like, oh fuck this shit. Okay. So there's a new Harry Potter show coming out on HBO. What I want to ask you,
Mhm.
do you like Harry Potter?
My experience with Harry Potter is strictly the books. Not the
Mhm.
books. What am I talking about?
The
Strictly the
movie.
books. The
Yeah.
movie. I have read one book randomly. The second one, Chamber of Secrets.
Okay.
And I read it over the course of 2.5 years, because it was in the can at our uncle's house in Maryland, and I would just pick up every time we'd go every couple of months.
You're like,
I would
oh,
just
where did I leave off?
where did I leave
Now,
off?
here's my question. When you would pick up wherever you left off, would you have
Yeah,
to read like a page or two before
I would.
you
Yeah, yeah.
were?
Oh, yeah, I've
Okay.
already. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I'm
of
like,
course.
wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. You're a genius.
No,
So I would never be able
and,
to remember that.
and then I'd also get confused, but I'd be like, do I remember reading this, or just do I remember watching this in the movie? Because I'd
Yeah.
obviously seen the movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I feel about Harry Potter. I've seen all the movies. I didn't watch the last two in the theater, but I ended up watching them at home. I watched the Fantastic Beasts, the first one. I thought it
Hmm.
was interesting, I guess. I was
Sure.
like, okay, there's something going on. The closest, like the most affectionate I feel about Harry Potter is when I go to, or when I've been to the Wizarding World, which I
Yeah.
think I've been there once. Just
Yeah.
once, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
just
The
once.
one
Yeah.
in Florida.
In
What a
Orlando, yeah.
time. It is
Oh
so
god.
good.
It is magical.
Now, also, obviously, you hold a very big space for JK.
Of course, that's
As a transphobe yourself.
you should see my J.K. Rowling face tattoo. It's her face tattooed on my thigh because I want to be as close to my penis as possible, because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, because she wants to know what's in your pants.
She wants to know. It's actually her looking at my penis in that direction.
Oh, there
Just-
it is.
Yeah, and on the bottom there's a note that says "man." Check.
So stupid.
So dumb. Is that
Anyway.
offensive?
No, it's not. To who? JK? Fuck her. She's terrible. This
yeah.
this transphobe turned, because now it's not even transphobe. Now she's anti woke. She
It's
hates
crazy, man.
everybody. She's gone all the way to the
It's
dark.
actually sad to see, because like my perception of J.K. Rowling 10 years ago was, this is one of the most accomplished people in the world, and this
Yeah.
person is using all this fame for, and all of this accomplishment for the right reasons, because obviously there's a success that you see from Harry Potter and you go, it must be so amazing to have this entire, like, it's an industry based
Yeah.
off of just shit in your head. Like,
Mhm.
that's an amazing thing for somebody to pull off. But you also saw stories about how she went off the billionaires list because she was giving so much money, right? And you
Yeah.
have like so much respect for this person, and to see that person fall from grace to the point where I think what she did with the Algerian boxer, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Iman, I forget
Khalifa.
what her last name. Yeah,
Khalifa.
Khalif. What That is the biggest crime. I think that is when even J.K. Rowling has to be like, dude, I'm on the wrong fucking path, because here you are leading a mob of bigots against
Yeah.
a woman. Against a
Yeah.
woman by your definition of a woman. You
She's
crazy
gone
asshole.
full Death Eater.
It's crazy.
It's wild. So, I only read the Harry Potter books in 2018, and I read them all of them, but there's like 7 of them. I read all of the books in like a week or 2-week period, very quickly. And it was a very moving time for me. It was very emotional. I read the books towards the, like, while my son was in treatment, and then towards the end of it, it was a different experience, because if you don't know, the entire book is actually about motherhood and parenting. And
I didn't
and
know.
yeah, and like, my son has a scar on his head, and he was a boy who lived. And so, that was a
Stop
really
it.
big deal. I know, it was like a really
Please.
big deal. And then we went to Florida for his Make-A-Wish trip, and we got to go to Universal, and it's a big deal. Like, my husband read the books as an adult, and so we really loved it. We're really feeling it. And then, this happens, and she's just the worst. And so I did watch the first Fantastic Beasts movie, and I think that that movie came out around the time where we heard rumblings that she was a TERF. And then then she went full-fledged, and I was like, I'm good. Now, this television show, I have to say, I am torn, like Natalie Imbruglia.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Because I've always said, like, I watched the movies and I was like, man, there's so much from the books that's not in the movies, and this could be such a good TV show. And so here we are. We're making a TV show. John Lithgow is going to play Dumbledore. Like, that sounds great. Wonderful. But then I just don't want to give her any more of my money. You know?
I, I, yeah. And the thing
Where
is,
it lands.
JK is not gonna need money for the rest of her life, right?
I know.
I don't know if her like the charitable side of her, or the philanthropic side of her, whatever, right? I would hope that that is still like that's still lit, that
Yeah.
that's still a thing that she's doing. But you also hope that she is contributing to the right causes, right? And for her, the right causes seem to be aligned with this fucked up ideology.
Yeah, like she's probably giving all her money to Nancy Mace
I don't know if she is,
to
right?
build those signs, put those signs up in, Capitol Hill that are
It
like
that's
women
that's what
only.
that's what you hope isn't happening,
Yeah,
but,
that's
like, you
probably
see
what
the
she's
fucking
doing. Yeah.
messaging online, you go, "Ah, fuck," right? But she could also still be giving money to, like, women's shelters and stuff like that, right? So
Sure. Yeah.
and that's what you hope. It's just like, and it's weird because you don't want JK to have to, like, prove to you that she is supporting the right causes, because at the end of the day, you know, the reason why you love Harry Potter and the reason why you are excited about this show and stuff like that is in some way tied to her talent. Not in some way, it's directly tied to her talent.
Completely.
It's the
Yeah. Yeah.
fact that she made this thing possible, so she should get the just rewards of it. At the same time, man, it's hard. It's
It's
hard.
hard. At the
Mhm.
same time, I dedicate like 20 to 25 hours of my week to put money in Andy Cohen's hand.
Oh, that's true too.
And he's like in October 2023 was posting things being like, don't go in cabs with Muslim names in it because they might be abducting Jews. So,
Is that really a thing that happened? No, are
yes.
you serious?
Yeah, man.
How are people? I don't understand how some people seem to just escape canceling. Like, that's
Oh,
insane to
oh,
me.
there's, I mean, like we don't like Deborah Messing, but like he's very Deborah Messing adjacent. But he's best friends with Meghan McCain. Like,
Ugh.
so am I going to watch the show? No.
Sounds like you are. You said no and then immediately looked away. Patreon exclusive. Watch somebody lie.
But, if I am going to watch it, you're certainly not going to know about it from me.
We're not doing recaps.
Nope. Okay, do we want to talk about the movie that we watched yesterday, or would you like
Yeah.
to tell me about? Okay, let's do that. Let's talk about the movie that we watched yesterday. I think it's really nice. Yesterday we got to shout out to Brown Girl Magazine. They gave us invitations to a screening of a movie called A Nice Indian Boy, starring Karan Soni. Hold on. I'm gonna find all the names of all the people that are involved in this. 1 second. Real, what did you think about the movie?
I thought the movie was very funny in spots. I was laughing really
You
hard.
were
I
you
found
were
it.
lolling. Yeah.
I was lolling. Now, I don't know if we want to reveal to the listeners that 2 minutes before credits, I asked you if I should prep myself and take an edible, and you said, of
Well,
course.
in your defense, they were giving out Parley G cookies. So
Yeah,
like you're not just gonna eat that with a dry mouth.
dry mouth.
Well,
Exactly.
actually the edibles do make your mouth drier.
They made it
So
extra dry. Yeah, exactly.
it
That's why I went
doesn't
ahead and
really
got water.
help.
No, it was a bad idea. Anyways, but I was having. I think there's parts of it that are really really funny. I think that it makes like a good. It made like a fun movie theater experience.
Yeah.
I think that the mom was probably my favorite.
Yeah, Zarna
Um,
Garg,
so
who
is it,
if you,
so she's a famous comedian or something, right?
she's a comedian and she's actually currently on tour with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, she's amazing, and she came up like I'm gonna say in 2018 or 2019. She started like doing comedy in New York, and so it's really amazing. It's the first movie she's ever been in. So it's with Karan Soni and Jonathan Groff. Jonathan Groff, you might know him from Mindhunter, and you also might know him from the original cast of Hamilton. And also he's apparently Lea Michele's best friend.
Oh, 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 oh. Hmm. I've watched. I think I
he
watched
reads he
a
reads to her.
document. I think I watched. Does he? I think I
Because
watched.
the joke is that Lea Michele can't read.
Oh, I did not. Is this advancing the cause of feminism?
Jonathan Groff is. Yeah, he's helping her
It's
read.
read. That's good. I think I watched some sort of special about Spring Awakening, and they were
Mhm.
both in it together.
Okay.
And that was interesting because I think it was when Jonathan Goff wasn't out yet. So
Okay.
he like I think discovered himself in the making of that show. So
Oh,
it makes
that's
sense that they're best
amazing.
friends. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's Karan Soni. Karan Soni's the Indian guy that you see in a lot of movies and shows, and you go, "Hey, I like that Indian guy."
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the Indian guy from Deadpool. I
Yeah,
think
he's
that's what he's most famous
and also,
for.
by the way, he was the voice of, I think, Indian Spider-Man in the Spider-Man Beyond the whatever the
The
Spider-Man
last one.
animated too. Yeah,
Hmm.
and that one, he's been in a lot of stuff. And he's very very funny. I'm gonna try to see what else he's in. Anyway,
He was in
the movie.
an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that I really enjoy, where he tries to seduce Captain Holt. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
that's right. He
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
He's very good. And
Hmm.
the movie is about, so the movie is presented as, this gay Indian boy, and he brings home a boyfriend, and the boyfriend is a white man, and the white man is actually raised by an Indian family. So it's like
Hmm.
he's white, but he's actually kind of Indian. Anyway, it's kind of presented as like, how does an Indian family deal with a gay son? But I
Hmm.
think more than that, it's more about how Indian families deal with non-brown uh, partners of their children.
Yeah.
And I thought the movie was going to be more about like him being gay and him coming to terms with it and all that kind of stuff. But really, I felt like the movie was about just the understanding that we sometimes don't get of our parents until we're much older in life.
I think so. I think that's going to be my biggest takeaway from it. But in some ways, that's also kind of my, I don't know if it's a disappointment. But like overall, like the way that the movie felt to me was, it was charming. Again, I
Yes.
would recommend that people go out and they watch it with their families, especially if like you have like, I'll say this, man, you need to kind of be in a liberal family.
Yeah.
And I only say that because there is a sex scene in it with two men, right?
Yeah.
And if your mom is cool with watching a man's hand on another man's back,
Yeah.
then that is, and when I say cool, right? What I mean
Yeah.
is like, again, bring up Titanic, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching Titanic with our entire family
Yeah.
and completely missing out on Rose's boobies because I was staring straight at her mother because she was like, "You are not watching that," right? So there is
Yeah.
there is that kind of like, if your mom is like cool with that kind of thing, that you have that kind of relationship,
Yeah.
then I would say definitely go watch it, right? Um, I wouldn't call it a disappointment, but it in certain ways it felt like it was it took advantage of like plot holes and stuff like that. Like the fact that Jonathan Groff was raised by an Indian family, right? That is
Mhm.
something that is completely out of the norm, but
Yeah.
it helps advance the plot. And like the way
Yeah.
that DDLJ was used, I love seeing DDLJ. I'll watch
Yeah.
DDLJ in anything, right?
Yeah.
But it also felt like, hey, sometimes it was just, hey, let's push this DDLJ thing on you because of the way that you guys feel about DDLJ, right? So,
Yeah.
and this is being way too nitpicky because
Yeah.
it's a fun time at a movie or whatever. The thing about the parents, the like the nice part, I don't know if we're giving away too much, but there is a part about it where the parents essentially say, what makes us sad is the fact that we don't communicate enough, that we don't feel
Yeah.
like you're a part of it. And that's a great message to have, right? I also
Yeah.
think that it missed an opportunity to talk about like still like blatant homophobia that exists in our culture, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't think that this movie needs to resolve that, because I think that
Exactly.
that was
It's
the
just a
thing,
fun
is like
family movie.
it's a really fun family movie. It's a
Yeah.
cute rom-com. Um I looked up the director. The director is Roshan Sethi, and he's actually married to Karan Soni. And
Is
also
he?
he's a doctor
That's
himself.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. So
So here's my thing then.
yeah.
Why don't we just make it about two brown dudes? Can we just make it about like
I mean, listen,
let's
it
make it
is,
normal, baby.
I know, but let's also enjoy the fact that we got to see Jonathan Groff sing Tujhe Dekha To Ye Jana Sanam.
I did okay, I do see that and I say, "Hey, I see a white guy doing it, a white famous person doing it." In some ways it makes me feel like this is a more global world, and this is good. I want Shah Rukh Khan to be as popular in the West as much as I love him or whatever too, right? But also DDLJ is just great on its own,
I
and I don't
know.
need a white guy to
I
fucking
know, but imagine if you're an American and you watch this and you're like, "Hey, I'm curious about this movie that these guys are watching. I
yeah.
want to
Well,
watch
so
this movie."
a good American would say that if he just saw a brown dude appreciate the fuck out of
I
DDLJ,
know,
because
you're
you should
right.
just do it. Yeah,
You should.
just hold people accountable.
I know, but the movie is great, guys. Go check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
It's in
don't go by
theaters
my complaining.
everywhere.
I'm a
Yeah,
bitch.
you know what, Raheel? This was not. I thought we were just going to promote the movie because we had to go
I
see
will.
it for
I'm
free.
saying you should go watch.
They're
I mean,
never going to invite us to
you
anything
say see
else.
it for free. Listen, buddy, we're Jersey trash. I had to pay $22 to get into the fucking
Yeah,
city.
and also congestion pricing.
But
Hello.
that's right. They fucking get into the Holland Tunnel, and then let me tell you, as I was leaving, it took me 35 minutes to get to my car, even though it was a half a block away,
You walked
because
the
I
wrong
forgot
way.
where I parked. No, I just forgot where I parked. And as I was like walking back and forth, right, like the most basic Jersey trash suburban mom part of me came out, where I was like, this is why you don't come to the city. The immigrants probably stole your car.
This is why we can't come to the city
This is why
anymore. This is why.
yeah, this
This
is
is
why.
after the pandemic. Things got so
And the
bad. Thanks a lot,
marijuana
De
smell,
Blasio.
the marijuana
Me-
smell.
me-
Meanwhile, I just took an edible. It was on 6th Avenue. I was going up and down 12th Street.
Oh, Rio,
Yeah.
come on. Please. Anyway, well, that's it for this episode. And you know what, Rio? I'll see you in space.
I'll see you in hell.
Okay.